I completed it till this line.
Okay. Can you just close this? Close everything. Close all terminals. Okay. So can you navigate to the GeoServer folder where there is a bin folder and everything?
Yes, ma'am. This one.
Hmm. Open bin. Click on the startup.sh. SH. Last one. Okay, it is opening in terminal.
No, ma'am, this is VS Code.
Okay, this is VS Code. Okay, give me a minute. Were you able to set the Java home and path for the Java?
Ma'am, I installed it
Hmm.
from
Then, okay, can you open the terminal and check the Java version? Is it visible there? But
yes,
I guess
it is.
last session it was there, right?
Yes, ma'am, it is there.
Okay. Okay, so from terminal we'll open this GeoServer. Okay, so open the terminal and like whatever path is there using CD, open, navigate to that GeoServer, unzip file.
Okay. So, what should I do?
Write CD
Okay, see.
and whatever path you had for your file, you just open that file, right? In your folder.
Yes, ma'am.
You can copy that from there. Yes.
The bin folder.
The GeoServer folder. This. Have
Okay.
you renamed the folder to GeoServer?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine. So copy this path till GeoServer. I guess it's just CD local GeoServer. It will work.
Yes, ma'am. User.
Enter. Okay, and now write CD bin in small letters. Space bin. Enter. Okay, it is in. Now write dot slash without space dot
Dot.
slash back startup.sh.
Startup.sh.
Okay, enter. What was the error on the top? Can you scroll? Can you increase the screen? Like for this. Hmm. Expand. Scroll up. What was the first line just after we ran this code? After. Okay.
Variable not found. Home environment variable not found.
Okay. Fine. Wait. Class path. Hmm. Okay. Scroll down. Hmm. We'll wait for some time. Let it run. Hmm. By that time, can you open your browser? Right. And open that localhost 8080. HTTP slash
This one, no?
HTTP colons double slash this one, yes. After HTTP, there should be colon. Hmm. Localhost colon 8080 slash geoserver.
Just a second.
I have sent you the URL. You can copy paste from there in the chat. Type in the browser, like on the top. Hmm. Now come back to the terminal where we were running the geoserver. Okay. Can you expand this? Can you search started server in this terminal only? Control F. I don't think we can.
What to search?
No, just a minute. Uh, Come back to that browser, Chrome browser. What was the error? Actually, in this it's already service.
Server,
No.
I believe.
Okay.
Ma'am, the last time you told me to set up the environment for like
There's no problem of environment. It has already taken it. Otherwise, in the terminal, it would have shown that
okay.
it is not running. What version of Java you have installed? Was it 11 or 17?
11 it is.
11?
Yes.
Okay.
Maybe.
Type control in this, right? LSOF. No, no, you don't need to search, right? LSOF. In the next line, click enter.
Alice.
Actually, the same issue somebody else was also facing. So at least once try to like delete this Geo server and the Java, whatever you have installed right now, and then
Mhm.
reinstall everything. Okay,
Okay, and
because
I should repeat all the steps like
yeah,
whatever I.
yes. First, uninstall everything from your
Okay.
system, like Java and GeoServer, both of the things. And then after
Okay.
that, restart it, okay? Because somebody was also facing this issue where it was stuck at this point. Because it is showing that the GeoServer has started, but it is failing at the UI part. It is not displaying.
Ma'am, I
So they
guess
might.
that
You are
version
also
issue.
facing the same issue, right, Kaushik?
Yes, ma'am. So actually, I
Okay.
guess ma'am, version issue is coming because I also first I have downloaded the 11th version. Then when I downloaded the 17th version, it's worked.
Okay,
Okay.
so okay. So you also try with 17 once. So maybe there's some problem with 11.
Okay, ma'am. I'll try
Okay,
that.
try with,
Okay.
but after uninstalling that, then start
Yes.
that.
Okay.
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 I guess ma'am that Geo server no need to uninstall because that time I have only installed the Java part.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, so I guess once Java is installed, then you can try because it will be because I have also faced the same issue.
Hmm. He was also
Yeah.
stuck at the same position only, that it was not coming after this.
Okay, ma'am. I'll do that.
Okay. Okay, is my screen visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so we'll directly start with the demo only today. So yesterday again reshare the PDF again. So I have created a list of every single thing that we will be doing in the demo so that you are well versed with what all function we are using. So such type of list I'm creating for every demo that we'll be doing. Yesterday we started with map initialization and base map, and we have also learned how to add a marker, a simple marker and a basic pop-up. Then we'll start further after this. So let's suppose you have initialized your map and then added your base map. Then after that, we want to add a basic. Anybody remember till what at what point we stopped yesterday? I guess we were done till marker, right? Circle marker. Have we covered circle marker yesterday?
No, ma'am, we inserted one icon and it is Hello Delhi above with the rectangle.
Okay. Okay, fine. So there is a very basic way to add a point data into your web application through L.marker. L.marker will only support point data. So you can pass latitude and longitude simply like this and then add to map. And if you want to add or bind pop-up to that particular point or data that you are showing into your web application, we will be using dot bind pop-up function, and then you can pass the string into that bind pop-up function in order to display that marker. So if I just added this and if we check here, you can see that marker is added into your application and a pop-up with the hello daily is displayed. Mostly this L dot marker is preferred and used whenever you are creating any search widget where, let's suppose, you are creating a lat long search widget and you want user to enter the latitude and longitude and you want a point or a marker, something to be visible on that particular location. In those situations, we are using this because you can only create one marker with one single line of code. You cannot create multi markers using this particular line, L dot marker. It will only add one point. So obviously it is not usable for any kind of a GIS data layer for that matter. Then in this particular marker itself, what if you want to add any icon into this? So for adding any kind of icon, there is one way that we define the POI icon. Using L.icon function, you can add this icon into your marker itself, that instead of that default icon that was coming as a symbology, you can have your own symbology. How can we add that? One way is you can use any of the URL from the internet, that some GIF you want to add. You can have that URL in icon URL, or you can simply download any of the PNG or SVG that you want to have, keep it inside your folder, and then add that path or the URL into the icon URL into this particular location. So the icon URL will add, it's like it's a link to your image or the symbology icon that you want to show in a point data. We are only talking in terms of point data right now. We'll deal with polygon and line afterwards. For giving the icon size, this is simply to add height and width to your any of the icon or the image that you are giving as an icon. Then similarly, icon anchor also, it will make sure that where you want to place into that, in what angle and everything, it will display into your web application. For attaching this POI icon into this marker, what you need to define? Inside L dot marker, till now there is only single property that we are defining, that is lat long. So we'll add one more property called icon and we'll pass this particular POI icon object that we created into this icon. So simply what you need to do in this, only add a comma in this object, add another property called icon, and then just pass your POI icon here. What this will do, this will simply change the icon symbol to this. So this was the image that I had. So it has changed the symbology of my point or the marker that I have added. This is whatever we are doing on the client side. Means we are defining what color we want to give, what symbology we want to give on the client side. There are server side symbology handling and color assigning symbology and everything is there. What you can do using GeoServer or using ArcGIS online server. So in those cases, when you have a GIS server with you, what you do, you create your web maps beforehand, you set a certain symbology, you set all these icons and everything, whatever you want to display, and then you directly fetch your URL. So what that will give you the flexibility of speed. Basically, it will not take a lot of time to render these images and give these pop-ups and everything. So you are just predefining everything into the GeoServer or ArcGIS online. So in ArcGIS, you can also define pop-up and symbology, whereas in the GeoServer, we can only set the styling part that we'll see later. But whatever you write inside your leaflet code or in this front end code, that is called as a client side rendering you are doing, means everything you are processing on the client side. So sometimes people need to do the client side rendering or change of the color of the feature, or so in such cases you use these kind of codes. But in cases where you have already set your symbology and everything in the GeoServer or any of the preferred whatever you are using in your web maps, then you do not need to set all these things, what icon you want or what color you want to give into your web application. So this was how you can add a direct marker and this marker is only supported with the point data and not any other data. Next is now we'll create a sample GeoJSON data and then we'll try to add that particular GeoJSON data into the map, and then we'll add a symbology, pop-up and everything on the basis of what data we have. So simply, first of all, let's suppose you have a basic hard-coded GeoJSON sample you are taking right now, and then we'll also see how to fetch it from the file. So whenever you are creating a web application, I have already mentioned that your data, your format should be in the GeoJSON format. So you should be aware that how GeoJSON data looks like. So it should have a type, it should have features. Features will have certain type and properties, and also a geometry information. So inside the feature, if you see, every features will have dictionaries like this. This is the format of how a GeoJSON data will look like. Every single dictionary will contain these information. One is a dictionary where you will have type and property. Property will contain all the files, all the fields, all the fields and the values that you have for your particular feature. And it will also contain a geometry, like what is the geometry type and what is the coordinate or the lat long value of that particular data that you may have. So in our case, you can see that I have created a point data GeoJSON for now. So it looks something like this. This is the first feature. If I go to the second feature, a name is cannot place. These are the two fields which have some values. Type is point, coordinates. Similarly, I have added one more dictionary. So this is like, these are like a row. If you compare it with the tabular data, so these are like 3 rows you have in your layer. So we have stored this, created this GeoJSON data, and now we'll add this into the map. So for adding this into the map, we'll use a function called l.geojson. So for adding GeoJSON data into your map, since GeoJSON is compatible with web maps rather than having shapefiles or CSVs directly, for if you have a GeoJSON data, you will be using l.geojson. Simple way, if you don't need to do any kind of customization, simple 2 line of code, l.geojson, pass the data inside that GeoJSON, which should be in the format of the GeoJSON, and then .add to map. Add to map is the function which will help you to add the data into your map as a separate layer. So what this is doing, basically add to map will convert your data into a layer. Then bind.popup will add a pop-up to your data. So we'll just first see this. So the 3 features that I added are visible onto the map with a default symbology because we haven't set anything yet, and with a common pop-up value because in bind pop-up we haven't defined that what pop-up value should be there. We have just wrote a string value. That's why in every single feature in the bind pop-up, only Hello Delhi is visible. That was the reason for that. Now, what if you want to have different name for different features? Because obviously when it comes to the real data, every single feature will have different information, and in pop-ups we need different values. There comes a different function which is called on each feature. On each feature, what it will do, it will loop over every single feature and it will run this function and then call the bind pop-up function for every single feature. Then it will fetch the feature information. Why we are writing feature.properties.name? Because our data is stored in that format only, which is friendly to the browser or a web application. So it's easier if you store your data in a GeoJSON format. The fetching of the data or filtering of the data while you are writing the code is easier in order to display anything. So let's suppose you want to display the India Gate name. So how do you fetch this data? So features dot properties dot name. So this is how you just fetch this data. If you want to fetch the geometry, so features dot geometry. So this is how we filter the data. So similarly, if I wanted to display the name field in my points, I used feature dot properties dot name. So that was the thing that I used. And we just so in every single feature, now we have separate name field data coming. Now comes the developer part also, will look side by side. So in order to check that how things are going on, okay, so let's suppose in this, if you like right now, so we have this data here on our code only. So that's why you are able to see everything together. But what if you want to know that what is happening in between, what data is passing, is it coming or is it not coming? So this is how you can uh, put these debugger tools in your, this is called the debugger tool or developer tool, we call it, to debug or to check what errors are coming in between. So no, type is not one of the, this, yes, this type is one of the column. Name is one of the column and this type is one of the column that you have in your data. This type is not the column. This is the how geometry is stored. So the geometry property of our GeoJSON of any GIS data will contain two information. One will be the type, means what type of geometry it has. Type and coordinate keys are fixed. They will always be like this. The coordinates will be like this. COO, the spelling is fixed. Whereas this, whatever you are writing inside the properties, you can have any field name that you want. If I want, I can change this type to anything that I wanted. Okay. So if I put the debugger tool in this, so what will happen when I run this, it will stop at this particular location so that it will not run everything and it will allow me to check that what is happening in this. So now if you see that I have put a debugger tool here and I just hover over everything here, so it is showing me now what is in the feature. So I can debug, I can check that in this feature right now, this geometry and this property is coming. So the first coordinate geometry is like this and properties, the name and type is coming. So my data is coming correctly. So since it is happening in a loop, so for one feature it will run properties. It has filtered only the name and type. If I go to the name, it is only giving me name. So that is how you debug and test and check whatever you are writing in the code. In between, let's suppose it is giving issues. Let's suppose you don't know the name and by some reason I just entered the wrong name of the field here. And if you don't put the debugger tool, so you can see there's nothing coming in the pop-up. And when and let's suppose you are new to this and you don't know what wrong thing you have written in your code. If you go to the console, there will be errors that it will display. But right now it is not even displaying the what error it was coming because we haven't done any. So read host validation failed. This is something else, some random error is coming, but not exactly, we are not able to figure out that what mistake that we did in our code. So in such cases, we use debugger tool like this, that you will go here, you will put the debugger tool into your required location. You will again run this, and then if you go here, you will be able to see, okay, in my feature, what is there in my property. So now you'll be able to get, okay, fine, I put the wrong name or the wrong, you can see that it is coming undefined, but earlier it was, the name was coming because we used the correct name. So these are the few tips and tricks that you need to follow. Always make sure whenever you are doing the coding, you have your developer tool open. Okay. Any confusion in this till now?
Ma'am, if we have an shapefile which
Yes.
have multiple attributes,
Yes.
and if we want to see that,
Yes.
if we
They'll do
click
that
on that,
hands. Yes. You need to convert that data first into GeoJSON. Then we'll be able to display it in the web application. Directly, shapefiles are not compatible with the web application. So we'll see that also, how you can dynamically convert your shapefile data into a GeoJSON format, and then we'll use that. Okay, anything else? Okay, the same thing that we within pop-up only. Like here you have seen that I have just added in a pop-up, I have added a single feature name and it was coming there. But what if you want to add 2 or 3 fields into that? So everything is same. There is no change in the code structure. What is changing? This is a simple HTML tags, that how you write HTML thing. So what this B tag is used for? B tag is used to add the boldness to your any of the text that you are adding. And if you are writing any of the text in the quotes, it will treat it as a string. So we have put this inside the string tags. So that's why it is coming in string. And then if we don't put the B tag, so it will be in a normal plain text. But if we put the B tag, it will put it in the bold. Then when we added the bold, after that inside we added this name with the colon, so it will be displayed. Now what information you want to show in front of the name? So for adding that information, you will add a plus icon. So plus icon will make sure that, okay, fine, you want to add something, like for example in Python when we used to write the print statement. So if we used to write inside the curly braces, so that meant that, okay, fine, put the value of that particular variable inside that curly braces when we used to do the F string kind of thing to print it properly. So same thing. This is kind of a HTML that we are writing inside this bind popup, that I want to display the feature.property.name in a certain format. I want to first show the name with a bold tag and then I want to show the name. So I'm adding a plus icon, then I'm passing the value which I want to give. Then again plus, because it is ending here, that's why I'm adding the plus icon. What BR will do, tag is used to add a break line. So if I don't use the BR tag, it will just add everything in a single line. Whereas if I use the break tag, it will make things in a 2 different lines. So that's why we added. So this is a structure you can follow. We can add a table also. If you want to add a table, we can add table tr. Th is used for table heading, tr is used for table rows. Okay, fine. We'll go to those syntaxes later when I'll start with HTML and JS. But this is a simple JS, how you just write things using bold tag. B is for bold tag and BR is for break tag, means breaking the line. You can see that now we have name and type in the bold. bold letters, and India Gate and Monument in the normal plain text because we haven't added the bold tag there. And it is visible because it is fetching the information from feature dot properties dot name and feature dot properties dot type, like this. This is how we can add the pop-up, add some variation inside that pop-up HTML as well using different HTML tag. So this is what you call, we call it as like embedding HTML inside the JS. One is writing HTML standalone for creating the whole wireframe, but let's suppose you are dynamically creating something inside your JavaScript, and inside that you want to add few elements, text box, some certain elements. In those cases, we embed HTML tags inside the JS also. That flexibility is also here. So in this case, pop-up is a dynamic element in our web application. This is not visible all the time. If it was there all the time, we could have wrote it in the HTML only, whereas it is dynamically coming whenever user is clicking on the marker. That's why we put it inside the bind pop-up. So like just now we have seen that how to add an icon in a single marker, in a single L dot marker, we have added a icon. But let's suppose you have any GIS JSON layer or any data that you may have, and inside that layer you want to dynamically add a custom icon as a symbology in your whole GeoJSON data instead of just a single marker. So then in that case, the defining of the icon is same. Like earlier also we defined it like this using l.icon. We have passed a URL. You can pass any of the internet URL, or you can download your icon, put it on your folder, use that path and size, anchor, pop-up anchor, everything. This is the pop-up position. Pop-up position means, let's suppose earlier you would have seen that I haven't added a pop-up anchor. So the pop-up was coming just on the top of my icon, and it was hiding my icon. So pop-up anchor, what it will do, it will make sure that the pop-up is coming a little slight on the sides of the icon, not just on the top of the icon, to add a little beautification to your application. So these are the few properties: URL, icon anchor, pop-up anchor, specifically for that. We have defined a custom icon, and we will now use a custom icon inside our JSON data. L.GeoJSON, same as earlier. We are adding a GeoJSON data. We have passed our data like before. Now inside that data, earlier we were just adding a dynamic pop-up. So we were doing this on each feature function. We created a function, passed two parameters, feature and layer, because it needs two parameters. One, it needs feature because the feature will come in the data and then it will fetch the properties and everything. So for that matter, we passed one parameter. Another parameter we passed like layer, because we need to create a layer and then add the data onto the map. So that's why we passed another parameter called layer in this. So this was same as before. On each feature will work as a loop, go into every single feature that will come in the data and then filter information, so in the pop-up. Now come the dynamic icon addition. Same thing, like on each feature, there is a function called point to layer. So since the pop-up is coming after the point is added to the map, so that's why there was no need to first convert the layer into a data into a layer and then add anything, because layer was already created. We just needed to add a pop-up. So that's why we haven't used point to layer before. But the reason we are using point to layer function is because while you are adding the icon means while creating the layer itself, we need to add the icon. So that means icon addition is part of the layer creation, not just a different task which we'll do after adding the point. I hope this makes sense what I'm trying to tell. So that is the reason we used a function called point to layer. It will help you to create a layer first. So it has created a basic layer of all your data without adding it on the map in the background. You'll not be able to see it. Then what it will do while it is creating a layer, it is rendering your layer. So while rendering, we need to render our icons. So then in that case, we passed latong LAT, LNG. This is the by default thing that you need to pass here that we, because obviously whenever you are creating a layer, we need to give the geometry information. So in this case, our geometry we need to pass. Since this is a point marker, that's why in the return, whenever we wrote any function give output in the return only. We have already learned how function we write in the Python. In the similar way, in the return, it will give the output. Same thing, we are self-calling the function, and then in the return, what do we want when we are creating the layer? We want a point data. So point data, so we can use L dot marker here because it is a point data. L dot marker will work. If it was polygon and point, they will use different things. So L dot marker, what L dot marker will need? Now this is the same that we used earlier. L dot marker, pass the latitude and longitude and pass the icon, which was the custom icon here. So now what it will do? It will go into the layer data, create a layer first, add the icon before adding it into the map. And then once the layer is created, then it will go to the on each feature function. And then one by one, it will do the loop and keep on adding the properties information to your data. So since in our case, we defined a custom icon, but it was a fixed custom icon for everything. So that's why in every single point, we can only see the red color here. But we'll also see how we can add the different icons to every single feature. For that, for adding a different icon for every single feature, we need to add the if-else conditions, because on the basis of the conditions, we will define that which feature will get what type of icon. While we were doing the exercise in the Folium as well, while we are mapping it using the Folium, at that time also we did this exercise to add different icons, and that time also we use the if-else conditional statement to add different icons. Same thing we'll be doing here also. So first we define the data, or if we have layer, we will load the data. Then we will define the icon. Like earlier we defined the custom icon, a single icon or the single color. But now we are defining a function so that we can have dynamic icons to every single feature that we have. So in our case, we have 3 layer data. So we are defining this we are defining 3 icons here. So in the if else condition, now somebody can ask that, let's suppose in a real data, you may be having 50 features. So can we define 50 icons here? So obviously it is not possible. Again, then there is another way. What we do, we define a config file for those cases. Config.js. This is just the standard name. You can name this file anything. What do we do here in config.js? Whatever things that we are doing in a repetitive way, or we need there is a long list of something that you want to keep in your code and you want to utilize in your code. So what we do, we create a config.js. we create a dictionary. You all know about dictionaries. Dictionaries is a key value pair. So what do? We define key and value pair. So let's suppose you want to define the icons for 50 uh, different unique markers or lines or symbols that you have. So what you will do? You will define the key value pair. Key may be a name of that particular image, and the value can be the URL or the path of that image. Maybe 50 images you have saved in your asset. So you'll pass the name of the image and the URL of that image in this config.js as a key value pair. And then we can fetch this config.js directly into your main script.js, so that you don't have to write a very lengthy code in your main file, so that it is structured and divided properly into your whole document. And then we will run a loop into the key value pair, or we'll find a way to how do when we'll do the demo of the layers, I'll show you how you can fetch the data from the config where you have stored maybe 50 data, 50 values of 50 information, using which you can add the custom different icons to your 50 maybe points in your data. But right now we are doing this like this, like we have created a basic function in that using a if-else statement, we are defining that in what case, what icon should go. So simple if-else statement. In if, how do we write if-else statement? We write if else. So you can write as many else if statement as you want. So if will be the first, else will be the last one to always write, and in between this you can write as many else if statement as you can, like this. Just you keep on adding else if and write your conditions. So that this is how you can add different, like multiple conditions you can keep on adding using if else. Now what is the syntax that if else follow? The if else follow if will then inside the brackets you need to pass your condition, what condition you want to define, according to which whatever output you are deciding inside the if statement, it should be visible. So if condition and then the output. So this is the structure if else follow. Here also you can see that I wrote if, then the condition, that the condition is type is equals to monument. Type is I fetched on the basis of the field data. So I want to give the icon on the basis of the type. Maybe you have uh, 50 points in your data, and or everything is categorized on the basis of cultural heritage, like is it a monument, is it a commercial, residential, whatnot, that type of category, residential land use category is there in your data, and you want to categorize or give an icon on the basis of those categories to your whole data. So it's quite possible that you can have only 5 categories in your data, maybe hospital, school, monument, commercial, that's it. So in those cases you can simply define a function, write condition for all those 5 6 categories that you have in your data, either a point or a polygon, that is fine, and then you can simply pass it like this. So if type is equals to monument, return, what return will give? Return will always give the output, what output you want. So if my type is monument, return the L icon, because we are defining the icons in this particular function. We have defined icon URL should be this, icon size should be this. So we wrote if else statement like this. Now we need to utilize this function. Here comes the importance of using the functions. Now let's suppose you have defined this function one time, but it's quite possible that you are running multiple other analysis, and you may have 8 to 10 script files within you, and you need to use this same function. So what can you do? You can create a separate like this config.js or utils.js file. You can make sure that you have saved this function in this config.js file. So everything which is common in your whole workflow, you make sure that you save it in your common files. So config.js can be your common file. So you just save it here, like create a function in this particular, and then you can fetch into your main script.js. That is a little tricky part. I'll keep on telling you these things, but we'll also do the demo one by one later. So So suppose you have a function, we created this and now you want to utilize it. So now again, the core will be same. How to add things in the map is using l.json. Pass the data. On each feature will have the pop-up. This point to layer, now earlier we have understood how to pass that one single custom item that we created for the icon. Now what we are doing, we have created a simple function which will have certain conditions, and on the basis of those conditions we will be displaying the icon. So point to layer, for creating a layer function, what it will return, in the return it will have l.marker. Same thing, latitude, longitude also. We are passing in the marker. There will be two things. One is lat long and another is icon. So earlier what we did, we used just curly braces, icon, colon, and that custom icon. Directly we pass that. But now we are calling a function because we have created a function. So we'll call a function. This get icon function, we called it here. While you call any function, what do you need to pass in that? We need to pass this type parameter. So in order this to get the result out of this function, what input we need to give? We need to give the input of type, then only on the basis of that it will give us the result. So what is the type? It will give me the result on the basis of that. So here also, while I'm calling the function called get icon, I will make sure that I pass the type. Where will I get the type? I'll get the type from feature.properties.type. So I have passed this feature.properties.type here. That's it. Everything is same. Now we'll check. You can see that it has different icons. In this, nothing is displayed. I just took a random image URLs, and in this, the circle is coming, whereas in this map is coming in this particular icon. So this is how you can add simple different icons. And when I'm clicking on this, I'm getting a pop-up as well along with this. Earlier, this pop-up was coming on just on top of my icon, but now it is not hiding. It is coming on slight side because I have used pop-up anchor in this. Any question till here? How do we create this function? Anybody? Any questions?
Ma'am, in icon URL, instead of the URL, can we just
Yes.
provide a sample image?
Yes, you can. Like I mentioned earlier, we had this location PNG. We can pass this path here. So I'll show you. Let's suppose you have any icon you have saved into your. So you can see that in the first one, I am using my own PNG icon that I have in my database, and in others, I am fetching it from the external URLs. So this is how we can link it here. It's just a path. Either it's a local path or it's an internet path. It will fetch. Anybody else? Okay. So similarly, like we had markers, so it was adding a simple default icon symbol. You can add images and everything. So similarly, there is also another thing which is called circle marker, another function with leaflet. What it will do, it will directly add a circle into your point data. So everything is same, that maybe you have a data, you add a pop-up. Just instead, when we are doing the return, in that instead of L dot marker, we are using L dot circle marker function. Circle marker will also take latitude and longitude as an input, and then you like there we used to define the icon. Here we are defining some another properties which are related to circle. Like circle will have certain radius, it will have a color, means the outline color of the circle. Fill color will have the inside fill color. Fill opacity is the transparency. So similarly, just instead of those icon, you can have circles as well, like this. And you can see that while I'm zooming in and I'm zooming out, it is automatically adjusting the size accordingly. So that is the inbuilt functionality of all these functions that comes with Leaflet, that they do this when we set the symbology and everything. They are not stuck at a certain size. They adjust accordingly according to the zoom levels, like this. Okay, so we'll keep it till here only, because after this I have to start with layers and layer will take time. So I don't want to stop it at the middle. Try to practice this till here, and okay, just a minute. In the PPT, I have created a very extensive this time, like function wise list. What is the at what demo topic we are using which function, so that even if you're very new, you will not be struggling. You have list what we did in the session, what are the key functions that we actually use for that particular task. For creating feature collection, for adding a vector based marker, we have circle marker. For adding a styled icon, we used L dot icon. So all the functions also I listed, and then for what purpose you are using this. So you can go through this list. There is a very extensive list also. So this is a brief one, like the overall I created, and this is in very detail listed everything what we did step by step. And you can follow this step like regularly and you will be able to achieve everything. So if somebody is struggling, you should make sure that you go through this whole list. This list will contain whatever we did till today, like we added this pop-up circles and everything. And then I also I have put this how to load the external GeoJSON file. If you want, if you get time, try to practice this how to load external GeoJSON file. Otherwise, we'll do this tomorrow. Okay. Any questions?
Ma'am, I have one doubt from yesterday's session.
Yes.
Ma'am, I'll share the screen.
Yeah.
Ma'am, I tried this yesterday,
Mm-hmm.
and while I did not find that code here, like in style.css, it was there, but
Okay.
in index.h,
Can you open the Visual Studio?
yes, ma'am.
Mm. Can I see the file folder where you have kept the script.js? Everybody else, if you don't have doubts, you can leave the session. If you have, you can stay.
This is the folder.
Okay. Yeah, open it once. Okay, asset index.html, script.js, style.css. Fine. Now open it in Visual Studio. Okay. Write one tag more, like write doc HTML at the top.
At the top.
Yeah. Doc type HTML. No, before HTML itself.
Okay.
I have sent you the tag. Now put the HTML. Now we'll write everything one by one. Okay. First write the HTML tag. Open and closing. Oh, okay. Enter there. Now write head. Do not copy paste. Type it.
Okay.
There may be some indentation error. Open and close. Now write title with the tags. Okay. Type this. Now you can copy paste this link, both the links. Mhm. Now write the, no, don't copy paste, write this body tag inside after the head. Small letters. And just write div in that, and do not add anything else, and just delete everything extra from your code. Fine. Just keep it till here and delete everything else. Do not add this script.js for now. Now go to in Visual Studio. We need to add the extension of Go Live. Can you go to this extension? 1, 2, 3, 4. Fourth. This one. Bottom one, click on the bottom icon. Search Go Live here. No, live server, something like live server. Search.
This one.
Install this. Okay, fine. Now come back to index.html. Save this file. And from the bottom, click on Go Live. From the bottom corner, right side, you can see there is an option for Go Live. Yes. Fine. Can you right click on this? Right click, inspect. Go to the source. Fine. Now come back to the Visual Studio. Now add that script file. No, don't copy paste. We'll write it there.
Hmm.
Hmm. Script src is equals to script in this only src is equals to double quotes, write script.js. Yes, click tab, you'll get this. Enter. Click on the tab, you'll get.
Done.
Okay, now come back to the browser where we were running. Refresh. Okay, go back to the write type module in this before src, write type module.
This one.
Yes. And yes, can you show me your script.js? Save this file first. There are two tags now. We remove this. Before HTML, there are two things. There are two closing tags for a script. That's it. Okay.
Script.js.
Save that also. Script.js. Okay. Write something in this first. Wait, I'll share. I've sent in the chat. Copy paste this. Now run it. Oh, well, just cancel it. Write it in a normal script file. Yes, keep it. It is incomplete. You will add a bracket and then comma 15 and then bracket and then closing apostrophe. Yep. Write it, type it, or click the tab. This will automatically come. It's not coming. Type it, no? Type bracket. Okay. Done. Save this. Come to the browser now. See, it is coming now because it was empty. That's why nothing was coming in that.
It was coming in style.css, but in index.html, nothing was there. So what
Uh,
was the problem before?
No, because nothing was there in the script. You have wrote something in your style.css. That's why it was coming.
Okay.
In script, it was empty. That's why it was not
No,
coming.
ma'am, in index, it was not coming.
Yes, because script.js is a dynamic thing, means for HTML and CSS are just the
Okay.
static thing. They do not need anything to bring because they are for that only, like to create a static wireframes. But what JS will do, JS will basically add the interaction to your web application. So JS file will only be visible when there will be some interaction.
Okay.
This browser is, this browser will only fetch those information which are there, like for to make it visible onto the application. So script.js file will not come till the point there is some interaction in your code. So that's why it was not visible here.
Ma'am, I'm saying that script, not about script.js, index.html was empty before.
So
Although
because
I wrote the code
see,
in.
see right now also you cannot see the thing that you wrote, means they are also visible, but there are some extra things also visible in this
Yes,
index.html.
ma'am.
So this developer tool is like when something is running, then only it will be visible in this developer tool. It's not like whatever you write in your code will be visible in this source.
Okay, okay,
That's why everything was not coming.
okay.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay then. Bye bye. Good night.
Good night, ma'am.